Good morning and welcome to BOTB HQ in Parsons Green, South West London. My name is Christian Williams, the presenter here at BOTB, and we're here this morning to judge the latest Dream Car competition, which ran from the 20th to the 26th of July 2020. And just before I hand over to Charlotte, once again, huge congratulations to last week's Dream Car winner, Ifran Abbas, winning that incredible A35 AMG Mercedes and £20,000. I'm now going to pass over to Charlotte Houston from Onside Law, who will oversee the proceedings this morning.
My name's Charlotte Houston from Onside Law, and I'll be overseeing the judging this morning. Firstly, I can confirm that the competition data has already been sent to the auditors, Wilkins Kennedy. I would now like to introduce today's judges. First up, it's Matt Cannon.
Good morning, my name is Matt Cannon. I'm a senior county referee and footballer, and looking forward to the new season.
Thanks, Matt. If you could now use the secure link provided and mark on the screen where you think the centre of the ball should be, then we'll come back to you at the end for you to justify your position and for a final panel decision. Next up, Ari Mendonca.
Hi, my name is Ari Mendonca. I've been involved in football for over 30 years, first as a player and then as a referee.
Next up, Leo Donnellan.
Good morning, my name is Leo Donnellan. I'm an ex-professional football player, having been with Chelsea, Fulham and Leyton Orient.
Next up, Hugh Gilroy.
Good morning, my name's Hugh Gilroy. I'm a referee, mentor, tutor and observer.
Next up, Alain Goma.
Good morning, my name is Alain Goma. I'm an ex-professional footballer, having played for Paris Saint-Germain, Newcastle and Fulham.
And finally, Nigel Hicks.
My name is Nigel Hicks. I've been a Supply League match official for the best part of 30 years, and I'm also an experienced Football League administrator.
Thanks, judges. If you could now please each individually justify the position of your cross on the screen. Starting with Matt, if you could please justify the position of your cross.
Yes, thank you, Charlotte. Mine is the red cross, just slightly to the left of everybody. There's 4 players in shot. 3 of them are in the sort of the background on looking. I've taken quite a bit of information from the player in black who's crouching down. We can see both of his eyes. And he's looking up towards the ball. I've taken the other bit of information from the player in blue at the front, he's quite relaxed, so he's set underneath the ball and he's looking up, and you can quite clearly see some white underneath his right pupil of his eye. And I've cross-referenced where they're looking, and I've put the centre of the ball where my red cross is.
Thanks, Matt. Ari, if you can please justify the position of your cross.
Yes, my cross is the green one. Well, we have a few players on this shot. I feel that player up front in royal blue is the one who's going to control this ball. You can see his shirt is like with diagonal wrinkles all over. I think he's moving towards his upper body is moving slightly to his right. He is looking up. His neck muscles are a bit tense, and the players in the back they are relaxed. They cause no threat to the player up front, and all of them seem to be looking at the ball at one direction. I decided that the ball was where I placed my cross over there because I felt that the ball is slightly closer to the player in front.
Thank you. Leo, if you could now please justify the position of your cross.
Yes, mine's the blue cross. Yeah, there's 4 players in shot. The 2 players in behind, I think they're just on looking. I took a little bit from their gaze. The player in black to the right, I took quite a lot with his eye line, because I think you get a good view of where he's looking. The player in blue, like my colleagues, I believe is going to receive the ball, control the ball, or even just move with the ball in the direction it's going. It's a bit hard to tell maybe what he's going to do, but you get a very good view of his eye line, of where he's looking. So I think possibly the ball's sort of just coming sort of over his shoulders, and maybe he's just going to run with the direction of the ball. But with his eye line and the player in black, I decided to put my cross where I did.
Thank you. Hugh, if you could now please justify the position of your cross.
Yeah, mine is the orange cross. 4 players in shot, but took the most probably from the 2 in the foreground. So player in the blue on the left, who I felt was the one likely to play it. Felt that it was up above him, but a decent distance away. So still in the foreground, I think, just based on his arms, his body position. Doesn't look like he started to move to play it yet. But I think he's looking up relatively steeply from how craned back his neck is, from the white of the eye that you can see. Did take a little bit from the player in black on the right-hand side, who's just looking up for me and in a kind of hunched position. But where those 2 met, that's where I placed my orange cross.
Thank you. Alan, if you could please justify the position of your cross.
Thanks, Charlotte. Yeah, my cross is the grey one. So I think it's the highest of all the crosses. I think the ball is dropping towards, the player which is on the left-hand side, who is, the closest to us. And he seemed quite relaxed. So I think the ball has still a bit of, distance to travel, and he probably will, control this ball. The 3 other players are more, I would say, passive. They're looking at, the ball dropping down. So I took a bit of information from the player on the right-hand side. I think he's looking up, with the player on the left, looking quite steeply. So cross references both eye lines. I decided the center of the ball was where my cross.
Thank you. And finally, Nigel, if you could please justify the position of your cross.
Thank you, Charlotte. Good morning, everyone. Okay, well, mine's the purple cross to the right of the cluster of other judges. Okay, so I feel the player closer to us in blue is probably more parallel with the ball. The other players are more in the background. I didn't feel the ball was really near any of them. I thought their body posture was quite relaxed, and the ball may be sailing either through them or in between them. But I felt it's a bit of a obviously clearly a 3-dimensional picture, in that the players in the background are looking more towards us than the player in the foreground who's looking directly across his shoulder. I felt the reason I placed it there was I felt I felt the other player in blue was not really looking at the ball. I felt possibly he was looking more at at his colleague in front of him, and the player behind appeared to be peeping around him. So I thought that if it was further over to the left, our left, that he wouldn't be able to see it because of the players in front. So that's why I felt he was peeping around, and that the ball was slightly to his left. So that was my thinking there. Obviously, clearly, as my colleagues have said, the player in black crouching is looking up. His eyes are pointed up out the top of his head, and primarily I used the gaze I felt of that player and the player in the foreground to put my cross where I did.
Thanks, judges. Matt, as the main judge, could you please now come to a panel decision with the other judges on the central screen? For your reference, the larger white cross is the calculated average of the 6 individual selections.
Okay, guys, so we've got quite a big spread of our choices. There's a sort of a cluster of 4. And then there's a couple of, one's lower as Ari, and then one's a bit further away, Nigel. So I'll get that spread. So I'll undo that one. And I think we've all said that we're taking information from this guy as well. Okay. I mean, personally, I think this player in the front, who I think we all agree is most likely to play the ball, I think you can clearly see under his eye some white, which to my mind would indicate he's actually looking up, obviously towards where I think I've had the ball, but up into this area where I put the magnifier, into this cluster of 4. I just can't see him looking on the horizontal. I know, you know, a lot of the times we say that the ball will, you know, the eye line is 45 to 90 degrees out from a forehead. But in this situation, I think we can clearly see the white of the eye, which is why I've gone further. This player here, I think, again, you can just see some white under the bottom of his 2 pupils. So again, he's looking up, obviously he's crouching down. But again, personally, I can't see him looking up to that extreme where Nigel is. So I'd welcome your thoughts. I mean, Ari, you're the lowest. Have you any more thoughts looking at this magnified eye?
Yeah, no, I think his magnifier over there, it can, we have all these 5 crosses over here. It's doable for where he's looking. If you put the zoom again, there's an angle that I can justify mine. I can justify Alan, for example, as well. He's higher, but all of them in this general direction. I don't see the one on Nigel. I think I cannot see them cross being there. And then even looking at the player in royal blue behind this one over here, he's not raising his head to look that high anyway. And the player on his back as well, he's looking over his shoulder. This player on the left and the player on the right side. I took in consideration as well these 2 players over here in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, Leo, you're in the middle here of all of us.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Matt. I just think I think the player in black, as concerns Nigel's cross, I think he's looking forward. I don't think he's looking up, and I think he's looking sort of in the direction where the player in blue, who we think is going to get the ball, is looking, obviously, for me, more in that direction. So Nigel's one, I'm not too sure about. And I think with Ari's one, like you said, Matt, I think he's looking more steeply. And I think with Ari's one, if it was as close as that, I think the player will be a little bit more tense, because I think he's either going to receive the ball, or he's going to do something with the ball, or he's even going to chase the ball if it's going past him. But so those 2 crosses, I would be a little bit suspicious of.
Yeah.
You know?
Alain, you're at the top of the grey cross. Again, I think on the height-wise, for me personally, I think it's in the direction of our 4 of us. But have you had any more thoughts on?
Yeah, no, yeah. Just to go back to the height, I think, you know, as you mentioned, you can see the white in the eye of the blue player, and for me, it's looking, you know, very steeply. Now, there seems to be a bit of distance between this player and the other players, and I think, you know, the player on the right-hand side in black, I think is looking up. You can see also a bit of white actually at the bottom of his eye, and that's why. And the other reason actually I was also quite high is because, you know, I can see he's relaxed, and maybe he's kind of stepping back, you know, to control the ball, and you know, the fact he's unchallenged, I think, you know, he's definitely going to control the ball. So yeah, no, I thought the ball has still a bit of distance to travel to come down to him, and as I said, you know, he might be stepping back to give himself a bit more room to control the ball, basically.
Yeah. And again, Hugh, you're in the middle here, so slap bang in the middle of the 4 of us and this average.
Yeah, for me, I agree with I mean, what you and Leo were saying. So we're in a very similar position. I just think if you look at his neck, just firstly at the back where his head is, you can see he's craning up. I think it has to be up steeply, but also from what we've said is look how much of the white you can see, which is always an indicator of them looking up. So it's that for me. Plus, if you look at the back of his head, you can see his head's tilted backwards. I agree, to be honest, in that I think if it was that close, he'd start to be trying to play it. He looks quite relaxed, like he's either going to kind of jump up and meet it, or, you know, he hasn't he hasn't had to make that decision yet. 'Cause it's still a little distance from him. So I think personally, where the average isn't great with us all taken in, because it's probably too far over to the right and not really in with a cluster.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'll go to Nigel, and then we'll start to remove judge's choice to see where the average moves to. So not to Nigel. I mean, you're on the sort of the line with Ari, looking more out on the blue player on a plane. Have you any more thoughts from what others have said?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the outlier of the group, and I think that probably I am skewing the overall judge's decision here. So I'd suggest removing me. I also think Aries is very close to the player. I did say I didn't really think any of the players were within playing distance of the ball, so that may be dragging it down slightly. Perhaps if you remove me and see what that does to it, but I mean, that puts it pretty central in the group.
That's right next to Leo's choice, and if we remove Ari as well, it obviously just moves slightly further up and encompasses the other four. So again, I think we're on this sense, we're going to need to have a panel vote about this. I know in the past we've removed people and left others sort of with Alain and Ari being sort of centred either side, sorry, outlying on the centre of this average. But personally, I feel this player with the white under his eye is just looking further, a lot more steeply than Ari's. So I think we need to decide two things. One, do we remove Nigel? Secondly, do we remove Ari as well? And then thirdly, do we actually then move the average with keeping possibly Ari in and removing Nigel? I think that's the three sort of biggest decisions we have to make. Personally, I think both Nigel and Ari skew the average too much. So I'd be personally in favour of both Ari and Nigel. That's with Ari back in again. It's right next to Leo's, and it's sort of centred between Alain and Ari. And the last bit of argument, looking at it now, it's where the average is put is between a choice of three of us, and Ari's drops it down lower. So there could be some argument to keep Ari in. But Ari, your thoughts? Nigel in or out? What do you think of your own?
Well, as I said before, I felt that Nigel one it's out of the picture on this one, and my one, to be honest, majority of you basically look for the player up front in royal blue and the player in black on the right side, and you guys didn't talk much about these two players in the middle. And the reason that if you see these two players, if the ball was higher as you guys place your crosses, I feel that their head should be slightly tilted, and they're almost looking horizontal. That's why I felt that my cross shouldn't be removed.
Yeah, I think this player on the right at the black has got a slightly tilted head, and
because he's shorter. He's shorter than the player in blue in front of him, and he's trying to look above on his shoulder over there, but he's still trying to look at the ball.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I mean, I think again, I'll bring up the players. When the players look at this competition, you know, they're clearly looking at a vision of players that they can see. We're debating something slightly more different between players behind, where we can't really see their eye lines, and we don't know how far away they are. Obviously, the middle blue player is behind the player right in the black, who's behind the player of the blue in the front. So I think, again, I'll go back to this player with the white under his eye. He's clearly looking up to me. Anyway, but
he was looking up, but I don't believe he's looking that up. That's why I felt that actually the way it is the average now, I think it works. It works well. It's in the middle of everyone on these 5 crosses.
Yeah. So really,
Because
what we're saying is,
would,
sorry to interrupt. What we're saying, by keeping you in, we're dropping the average lower.
well, it's still in line of three of you guys over there, isn't it? And there's one above and there's one below.
Yeah. So the point I'm going to make is really, if the 4 of us disagree with the ball being that low, one of the reasons to keep your choice in is to keep the average from not going too high. That's the sort of point I was trying to make. That's quite important, because other than taking you out and moving the average around, which is slightly more complicated. Leo, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, no, as concerns Ari's, I'm with you, mate. I just think the player in blue, his eye is telling you he's looking steeply. I think for me, if he's looking at Ari's cross, it's not, it's just not quite working. So,
yeah, but the point really is by keeping Ari in. I mean, if we remove Ari's cross,
the only thing that's
moved that far up and encompasses all 4 of us. If we keep Ari in, it drops it down to pretty much over where you've chosen. It just keeps that average lower. So it's we can disagree with Ari as a panel, but keep his cross in order for the average not to go too high. I mean, that's the.
See, I don't think we should do that. I think we've always said if we think one, as Nigel used the term, is an outlier or is not feasible, I don't think we should be calculating the average of the decision with an outlier or with something that we just don't think is possible. I think we're better to say these as a group are possible and we've decided it's going to sit here. I know what you're saying, where the average is now is feasible because of where he's looking, but I don't think that should include something that we clearly think's off. We find the spot ourselves.
I think as well, if you take Ari's cross out, the average moves slightly higher. And apart from my cross, everybody is above me, So
yeah,
I think he should come out.
Yeah, Alain.
Yeah, no, I think Harry's cross position works, with the player in the second player in blue. In fact, but I don't think it works with the player on the left hand side. Who's gonna receive the ball, and I think we should prioritize, this player on the left hand side in blue, and I think he's looking quite steeply, and if you put the magnifier on, Harry's cross, I don't think this player is looking in his direction. And, I can't see the ball, being there based on his, eye line. So, and I'm a bit more on the, upper sides. So, this works better for me, I think.
Yeah. And Nigel, although we've removed your cross, have you got any thoughts on that part of the debate?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't mind, Mac, would you mind redrawing the lines just with the 4 of you in there, just so we could see how that looks? Yeah, that looks pretty much the consensus of the judging panel, I would say, that group.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we can go, if we don't mind, to a straight vote. I think we've all agreed that that Nigel's choice would be removed, and it's now whether we go forward with this average with Ari removed, and then to judge at that average. I'm in favour of this, leaving the judged average where it is, obviously removing Ari. Ari, I take you disagree with this?
Yes, I do. But as a panel, you 4 decided that I should be excluded, so I have to go with it.
Just to confirm that, Leo.
Yeah, I'd take Ari out on this occasion.
Yeah, and Hugh.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah, and thank you for explaining it so succinctly. Alain.
Yeah, no, I'm happy with the average as it is now.
Okay. So if we're all agreed, we'll judge at this average. Charlotte, after a bit of a longer discussion, we've decided to judge at the average with both Ari and Nigel choices removed.
Thanks, judges. If everybody is happy with that decision, Matt, if you could please click submit. The coordinates selected are 1, 3, 2, 0 and 6, 7, 3. These coordinates will now be passed to Wilkins Kennedy to calculate the winner of the competition, and they will then inform BOTB. That concludes the judging process. Thank you.